Hey, AfterBuzzers, you are tuning in for episode 22 of season 3 of Scorpion, Strife on Mars. Can we just talk about what Walter did? Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah. Yes. It was getting hot in there for them. That is for sure. It's not hot in here, though. We got some lights, but let me tell you, it ain't hot. Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. You're tuning in for Scorpion. I am one of your hosts, Monse Bolanos. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. But you know why it is a little hot in here? Because I got her right here.
Look at her. She's got them segues. I am Susannah Kim. You can find me at Susannah_Kim, SUSANNAH_KIM. Please do.
Yes.
So good. And we have to give a thank you
to
at Black Dolphin. Was there a number behind that? On Twitter gave us a whole list of songs. Not just this one song, but gave us a whole list. Had a few good ones, but we went with this one. I can't remember if we've used this before. I was trying to say that we might have, because I think there was another episode where they were burning up.
Right.
Does anyone remember?
For sure.
If anyone can tell me.
But it's, it's okay to bring it back. It's such a good song. It's epic. So I was like, we had other options, but this really is what they were kind of going through.
Yeah.
So it's perfect.
Good stuff.
This episode.
Listen.
I don't exactly know what the writers are doing over here.
I love whatever they're doing.
I love it and I hate it.
Right.
All at the same time.
Oh, I'm just loving it.
I was very shocked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very shocked by what happened in this episode. We should just get into it.
Yeah.
This whole season, this whole show for 3 seasons, they have been playing with us with Walter and Paige. This whole time. They give us a little, they give us none, they give us a lot. We get excited, And then this episode, it just took it all away.
Right. Well, yeah, kind of.
It just took it all away.
Kind of, though. At the same time, they gave us a lot as well. You know what I mean? Being acknowledged is a lot. Getting Ralph involved is a lot. And what he said at the end.
That's why I was so shocked by it. Because, at the end, Ralph.
Yeah. And you thought it was going to go one way.
That way! Because Ralph's like, Mom, Walter didn't stop being a genius
Just
up there.
like that, too, guys.
Is that...
That was such a good
Didn't stop being a genius out there. So maybe you just love him.
Dead on.
And it wasn't, a way to save him. That, and then it goes into the night. I was so shocked. I screamed. I was yelling in my room. And I was like, what?
This is one of my favorite episodes ever, I think. Top 3. Top 3 to 5.
3 to 5. I'll give that to you.
Yeah.
I'll give that, because I really liked all of it. Even the mission itself to me was hilarious. There were so many funny things that were said subtly throughout the entire episode, including in the mission. But man, they just were like, oh, okay. Susannah and Monse think that we're not giving them anything. We're going to give them something.
Right? And they're referencing, obviously, they referenced season 3, episode 3, which has been, I think, a fan favorite, and from what I've seen, a lot of the cast favorite too. They love that episode. So for them to recall it, obviously we're gonna love that because it just brings back that feeling.
So do you think that was always the plan to bring that back? Or do you think it was such a fan favorite that they were like, oh, maybe we can bring this back a little bit more in detail?
Good question. That would be a question for the writers if anyone's watching and can tell us. But I remember when we watched that episode, and I tried to go back and rewatch our AfterBuzz thing for that episode to see, did we predict any of this? But we're not that interesting. I can't watch it.
Great.
I'm just kidding.
We're glad you can.
But yeah, I remember when I watched that episode, I remember thinking they're totally going to bring this back because it was something that was so huge and he forgot about it. And I remember thinking, I thought that they were going to bring it back in relation to that, what was it, Boston cream pie or something?
Yes, right.
And so I thought that was going to be the link, which didn't happen. But still, they brought it back. So I remember hoping that they would.
Yeah, I wonder if this was a plan all along.
Right.
Or if this was something that developed throughout the season. Because, they've taken a lot of breaks.
Right.
In fact, I am pretty sure we have a 2-week break after this week.
That
sounds just like Scorpion, huh?
Right.
I'm almost positive we have a 2-week break, so we probably won't be seeing you guys next week. I was looking at that. And there's 3 episodes left, I believe. 3 or 4. It's 25 episodes total. Is 22. So 3 episodes.
Yes.
And I believe a 2-week break. Wedge and wage.
Wage or wedge? We had hashtag that.
Yeah.
And someone tweeted us this week saying wedge it is, which I thought was so funny. Yes.
That's why I avoided Twitter up until, because I didn't see the episode till this morning, and I know that people aren't gonna tell me exactly what happened, but that already sets you up for something.
Oh, it's so hard.
Like, you know, if I would have read that wedge it is, I would have been like, oh, something's gonna happen. I wouldn't have been as shocked as I was when I was watching it. So I actually avoided Twitter for the last 3 days.
So good.
It was so good, and what made it so good is having Ralph. I believe Ralph is such a huge part of the show that they need to use him a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely. I think they're starting to get that. I think they're starting to see how much we love Ralph and how much we always question where he is when he's missing.
Right.
I mean, obviously he's got to go to school and stuff, but we're always like, where is he? And I was thinking about this today. Does Ralph get cut in? Does Ralph get a cut? Does Paige get an extra bonus because I made this dude and he's helping you guys out, you know? Yeah. And Ralph has come in clutch pretty often.
Yeah.
He's been very handy. I would
he's
think
the smartest in the room.
And then now with this wedge happening, Walter, did you really consider that you actually got rid of 2 people on your team?
He's gonna be like,
did you consider that?
Ralph, you can stay.
Right? Yeah, I know.
Can you imagine? I don't think he did. He totally acted irrationally.
Exactly.
And to even tell Paige to act like you really believe you're doing something good for her,
right?
Saying that he's giving her a year of severance pay, and she's gonna go work with Elias,
right?
So it's like, yes, you set her up, but wow, you just kicked her to the curb.
And not just her, the whole team was
Everyone.
So affected by it, which I loved.
I loved it. Like Cabe's
the reaction
look
at the end, yes.
Silence.
Silence was the best reaction for Cabe. Because I kind of expected he's gonna give this talk, he's gonna be like, look, son, you know?
Right.
It didn't happen, and that was even more powerful.
It was, everyone walked away from him, leaving him. But I agree, Cabe not speaking shows how much he messed up.
By the way, we have 32 people watching right now.
Hi!
Thank you guys for joining us live.
32 is Blake Griffin's number.
Okay. Oh, okay. And I had a feeling because I knew this was to me, this was such an epic episode that we would have a lot of people joining us. So I'm excited. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you. Let us know what you thought of that.
A lot of people. Sheena, 123, Michelle A, Kristen Schreiber, Katie, and Nate. I don't think we've seen that name before.
Thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you. Let us know what you thought. Did it upset you as much as it upset us? Yeah. It's so frustrating. I could seriously sit here and talk an hour for how much I hated and loved it, I guess.
I think I loved it because I kind of hated what happened, but I loved it. And also because we were thinking wage or wedge. And I thought we would find out at the end of the season, but because it's not the end of the season.
Right.
I'm thinking, okay, well, if you gave us this wedge now, that means there's still room for a wage to happen before the end of the season. So that's what makes me excited.
That's very, very true.
That's what I'm thinking.
But man, was that upsetting.
Yes.
All right, aside from the upsettingness that happened throughout the entire episode, before we get to that, it's really cute the way that Walter starts to remember things. Little by little, he's just kind of this part and that part, and everyone's trying to be like, no, it's not a big deal. No.
And the way they did it too was such a tease. They kind of dropped it in little by little. You know, everyone's starting to get a little nervous about it and antsy, and they're like, what's gonna happen when he finds out? Yes, they did such a good job at sprinkling it in instead of just dropping it on us.
Right. I loved seeing them kind of try to dismiss him, and even Paige when she was like, I can tell you, we did not kiss.
Right.
But even in her voice, it was but something nothing happened.
And then even when it finally comes out and they say it, that Ralph chimes in and he's like, Mom, did you really say those things?
Yes.
Because when it was happening too, I remember them talking about it, and immediately I was thinking, isn't Ralph on the comms? Isn't Ralph listening to this? Right. But then they cut to break and I was like, I wonder if they're just gonna pretend like they ignored Ralph or something. Right. But then they immediately come back and Ralph is asking his mom and he's like, did you really say that? And it was so innocent and honest, and he's so aware. He's not just like this kid, you know, even though he's a genius, he does kind of have pretty high EQ, I would say.
Yes, he does. Know? He's definitely.
Compared to the other guys.
For sure, definitely. And we get a lot of bachelor stuff and bachelorette stuff in this for Toby and Happy. Them trying to prepare this party.
Yeah.
So funny, because we get this giant party bus, this bus that poor Paige is never going to get the deposit back for it.
Oh, yeah, no. They're going to have to pay for the whole bus.
They're going to have to pay for the whole deposit. Bus.
The bus is theirs.
Yeah,
I think they should just call it the Scorpion Team bus.
Right. But it's really cute because we get a lot of Toby and Happy in this. A lot of bickering, which... You know, we get, but this one kind of emphasized it a little bit more, I felt.
Toby and Happy?
Yeah. A little bit more of the bickering and the fighting versus the happy-go-luckiness that we get. And not that they're always happy-go-lucky, but, you know, to the happy of what they bring. It was a little bit, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's, like, more serious now. It's like, we're moving in now.
We're moving
like,
in.
This is forever. And being able to see a couple that started out okay or whatever, and then now they're in a situation where they have to work together and live together, and that's exactly what Quintus is going to be doing. So
right.
I don't know how well it's going to go.
Listen, if anyone showed up with all those boxes, I'd be like, get out. What are you doing right now? Right. And he's just bringing in all these boxes, going into her spare room, her motorcycle room.
I like that she has her own room.
Like she's for motorcycles. Yeah, which I get it.
I'm very happy.
Who wants all of these boxes with incompleted research that he just has in binders with his Moby Dick or Toby Dick photo.
Toby Dick. Gosh, everything about it.
It's
all
really good.
It's just a fine line between junk and like genius stuff, you know? He could end up being Einstein or like very important, and all of this stuff could be worth millions. We don't know, but it also could be junk.
It could be junk.
Could just be in a landfill.
And I don't know how Happy was dealing with that, because I just would have lost it. But you know, in the end, they still, despite all of the relationship stuff that we get throughout the mission of them having to live together and work together, and they're seeing the example with the scientist and the biochemist, which we'll talk about the mission in a minute. At the end, it ended with them still wanting to be with each other. They're like, even though we're going to live together, we're going to work together, we are not going to end up, you know, like those guys.
Yeah, they just use it as like a cautionary tale.
Exactly.
Which is lovely.
So I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it still ended in a positive note, in the best note for Toby, because she framed Toby Dick.
Oh, God, so cute.
That was cute. Right when she walked in, I was like, it's Toby Dick.
It was, and I thought it was going to be like, we're going to leave him here, and that's your gift. I'm not going to torch this, and you're welcome.
Yes. It's like Phoebe's portraits of the
Gladys
girls. Gladys and Gladys.
Gladys and Gladys. That's exactly what that was. We
cannot
get through an episode without referencing Friends. It's not possible.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Challenge us.
I think I can go through every episode. I know.
I'll connect it all.
I can go through every episode of ours and clip out every Friends reference we make. I'm sure there's one for every.
We really should.
Oh, God.
That'd be so funny.
That'd be ridiculous.
But I loved everything with Toby and Happy.
Yeah.
That was all so great.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the wedding. Which, by the way, have you guys seen? I think everyone's seen. Have you seen the what is it? Little spoiler photos of the wedding?
No,
I saw a couple. There's a couple online. People were tweeting them to us.
That's so cute.
And yes, Ivan, we are sure fans of Friends. Thank you. But yeah, we see Happy in her wedding dress. We see Paige in her dress.
How adorable.
It's cute. I'm very excited.
How adorable.
So it's definitely happening, obviously.
Obviously it's happening. How
Episode
much?
23 in 2 weeks. Or no, not in 2 weeks, not because they like to tease us, but in 2 episodes.
In 2 episodes. It's going to happen. So who knows? Maybe 4 weeks from this point. Now I'm going to have to look that up because, I mean, I want to see it, but then at the same time, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But
it's just her. It's no video. It's just, you just see
it's
Happy
just a picture
in her dress, and she's so cute. She's gorgeous. Dating Wong is so pretty. But yeah. Anyways.
The mission.
Yes.
Let's talk about the mission. I really liked it. Mm-hmm. It was real hot in there for them. Mm-hmm. Hot in her. So we get this guy, Capper. that's he only had one name, like Moses, Cher.
Which I love that actor. I knew right when I saw him, I was like, he's gonna be terrible. You're a snake. You're always a snake.
A snake, right? He was in Castle as a bad guy.
He was. He was also, I think he was in Grimm, because I remember him morphing into a bird thing. You remember?
Oh, good one.
That he was in Grimm. He was on Lost, which was the first thing that I referenced him from. Once Upon a Time, he was on. This dude.
And it was funny because I didn't. In none of those things, you like him. So I was like, how are you gonna be bad? Because you have to be bad.
Yeah. I was like, he's deceiving them in some way.
Right. And I'm glad he was bad the way he was. Like, it was perfect. It was like, yes, this guy is a sleazeball. Like, that's how it's perfect. I love it. I'm glad he wasn't good. I'm glad he was bad because he totally sells it.
Yeah, there's nothing redeeming about him.
Yeah, the actor is Patrick Fischler.
Yes.
And he works a lot. He's really good. But he knows what his role is, and he sells it. He sells it very well. So this guy, another very smart man, is basically creating like a replica of Earth on Mars. That's what they're trying to do. This dome where people can live with all of these things that you would have on Earth. And he's doing a 12-month experiment, but something's gone down, and Team Scorpion needs to finish it because this experiment, it's a lot of money, a lot of work, and they have 1 month left. So they want him to just go and fix the thorium power grid, which is not working. Sure, whatever that is. But it's interesting because they tell us, I like how they're like, well, if you don't want to mess the integrity of all this, then we shouldn't meet with the scientists. Like, we shouldn't see them. We shouldn't see the 2 people that have been put in this dome to try this out for 12 months. And he's like, no, it's going to be fine. We're not going to deal with them, all this stuff. And it's so great to see Ralph throughout the entire episode. From the beginning, he hacks into his security files thinking that the guy, Capper's like, oh, you're not going to be able to get into it. And immediately they're like, he's the smartest in the room.
Yes.
He's literally the smartest person. Even above 197 over there. Like, it's so
I love those
cute.
little drop-ins.
The little so cute. So stinking cute. But since they're preparing for the Bachelorette party, we don't have Sly and Cabe yet. Sly and Cabe are off getting a piñata.
Yeah.
Very important. A piñata
Piñata heads.
Heads of Happy and Toby. That was hilarious. That was so good.
Hat and all.
So good. So they're off doing that stuff, and they're gonna meet up with Team Scorpion, but they're off to where the biodome is, right? Biodome, the dome.
Yeah,
that's what they were calling it, to fix this. Immediately as they go in there, it is a mess.
Yeah, they knew they had been had the second they got in there.
That play,
right?
Wow,
right? I would have walked right back out and been like, that's not what I signed up for.
That is not. Yeah, why did they deal?
Why did they stay?
I don't know why they stayed.
They agreed to be locked in there, sight unseen. You know what I mean?
Right, because you would go in there and be locked. The guy had to manually open it.
Right, and they could have seen. Supposedly, they had access to visuals. So had they pulled up that camera footage just a little bit sooner, they might have been like, "Wait, sir."
Yeah. But I know, why did they stay in there? I feel like in other situations they've been like, this isn't what we signed up for. This isn't what we're doing. But they stay in there because, it just looks messy. It doesn't look dangerous.
Right, and it has been lived in.
It has been lived in
for a year.
11
Almost,
months.
yeah.
Exactly. So maybe they're just like, hey, look, it's really messy, but it's not a big deal. We got 2 people in there. We have Sal, played by Benjamin Burdick, and we have Jennifer, Elizabeth Howard. I loved them.
Yeah.
They were so cute, like, together.
Their little bickering, the back and forth.
The stuff he would say to her, I couldn't.
And the timing of it. Like, really, man? You're going to say that now?
Like, when she's like, oh, I'm Jennifer, but she goes by Oscar the Grouch now. Oh, it was so good. I absolutely loved it. But there was a lot of bickering between them, and so Toby and Happy, got to see a lot of that, which is great for their relationship. So we're going to fix this grid thing, this thorium reactor that's just not working.
Right.
And we realize, or Happy realizes, that they've kind of manipulated this thing to give double energy, because he's trying to keep energy. She's trying to be Poison Ivy over in her room, and that's why this thing started falling apart.
Yep.
And Happy's like, this is never meant to have this much energy be used and it's about to explode.
It's like when you see those like surge protectors or whatever,
Yes.
and they're just like a million plugs, and
One
then
in
like
my
an
room.
extension, and then there's like a box connected to it that has 5 more plugs.
Yep.
And they're all full.
Yes, all that. It's just the worst. And they're like
Just
tied
waiting to blow.
to each other in some places, and you're like,
Right?
how is this safe? How are we
It's
here?
not.
It's not safe. That thing explodes, and immediately the heat turns up in this place. But not just like a little bit. It's so bad that they only have a couple of I think they said like 2 hours, if that.
Right.
Something really small before they were gonna burn up, and it
Or their
just-
lungs. It
their
was interesting. I didn't know
yes.
that when you get really hot, too hot, the water in your lungs, like, or I don't know, the whatever air in your lungs becomes water, and that's how that. I know.
Yeah.
That makes total sense to me, though.
Scary. So scary.
Crazy.
Yeah. So when this kind of explosion happens, Team Scorpion has their first little mission because Toby and Jen get stuck in Poison Ivy's lair, and the other 3 can't get to them because all of the soil from the plants has just caused a blockade.
Right.
Now they can't get to each other.
Even with that, I liked her little dig at him. She's like, if he had given me the right, soil, then this would have worked.
Yeah.
Mr. Ivy League over here. And then Toby has to, Harvard? And he says Dartmouth. He's like, that's why it didn't work.
Yeah, that's what I did.
It's impressive how often they're able to work in Toby's going to Harvard.
Yes,
Because I
it's
think that's a
impressive.
running joke among everyone, right? That people that go to Harvard just happen to work in. When I went to Harvard,
Yeah,
they taught us how to work when I went to Harvard into any sentence. When I went to Harvard.
When I went to Harvard. Oh, did you go to Harvard? I'm confused. Wait. Did you go to Harvard? I'm not sure. So I thought this was really cool. They basically hardened the soil.
Yeah,
That was
cool.
really cool.
Solidified it.
Just to make it like a giant rock, and then they could break into it. And I loved that we even go back to the soil once it's like melted.
Yes, that they reused that.
That they reused. I loved
as mud. They're like, oh, that should be melting now. So it wasn't even like the same thing. They're like, oh, time
Something
has
else.
passed. Now it's something else, and we can still use it.
I loved
Brilliant.
that because they don't do that a lot.
No,
We kind of
yeah.
move on quickly, and then that stuff is just off to the side.
Absolutely.
So that's how they get through, and we get Toby and Jen back with the group. Now Jen's like dying. She's struggling.
Yeah.
She
looks bad.
She does look
Makeup
bad.
people look real
Yeah,
bad there.
but Sal was fine. He was like, "Yeah, I lost a little weight," and I was like,
I
"I
know,
don't."
yeah.
Did you? Did you?
Right? Like, Toby was specifically asking about Jen.
Yeah.
And Sal's talking about himself. And Toby looks at him like, really, man? That's what I was asking about.
I don't know if this is but at one point, he's like, I can't believe there was all this soil and a shovel, and you're still alive.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one, too.
that-
a lot of really good digs.
So
many good.
many.
The writing, man.
It was-
the writers on the show, like, this show, like, I know that it's mainly about the geniuses and all that
Right.
stuff, but the writing on this show is so good.
It's so good. And in this episode, it was like, on its peak. It
Yeah,
was literally like,
yeah,
this
it
is...
was over this. Yeah, it was
so-
witty. It's funny, and like there are so many shows that are dramas, especially shows like this where it's about like a mission or they have to get something done, where they skip a lot of that or they feel like they don't need it. But man, this show really does a great job of using a lot of comedy in it.
Yeah, they're very good. It's not just
So
the procedural
funny.
aspect of it.
Exactly.
There's actual characters.
They're characters
that we care about.
and they're so different, you
yeah.
know? Oh,
and in
gosh.
procedurals, you don't really care about them as much as we have kind of grown to like
Right.
these characters.
Love them.
They're doing, yeah, seriously.
And the actors are so good at like, making them so specific too.
By this point, Capper has left the building over at the garage once he realizes that, nothing's, I don't know what to do. They're going to burn up. I can't open the door. That's when he actually leaves.
He left.
He
just
left.
pieced
I
out.
couldn't believe
I
that.
couldn't believe it either. I kind of thought he was gonna stick around, and I kind of wanted him to just because the actor's familiar to me, so I kind of wanted him to stick around a little longer
Yeah.
to see more of his rattiness,
Yeah.
you know. But man, he just pieced out and never came back.
I thought we should have seen him again.
I thought he was gonna come back.
something needed to happen. It was a little abrupt how he kind of just up and left.
Yes.
And it was like, that's it.
I thought he would maybe come back at the end and actually help them and save the day in a way, or be like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, you can do this, or oh, there's a trap door I forgot to mention, or you know what I mean?
Or
Something.
even just, I don't know, Team Scorpion going to like say, hey, you can't just do this.
Right.
Even though they do mention that NASA is never going to work with him and that he's like they mention him again. But I wish we would have seen him a little
Right.
bit. Just a little bit. Or I don't know, maybe have a more like an exit that is more not so abrupt.
Maybe.
Is that what it was? It just kind of was like, I'm leaving. You're really leaving?
But it showed him what a jerk. Like, what a jerk.
That's
like,
true.
What a...
It did.
What a D.
What
I mean, yeah. And some people are mentioning in here, they signed they signed a non-disclosure. So I like that they included that. Saying,
yes.
This is why you guys can't really just, call the cops or whatever. Or,
That's true. That's true. But I mean, NASA had to find out because clearly you needed to know what this guy was doing because it's not working. And he claims that it was fundraising and stuff. And I was like, oh, how dare you? How dare you put people in this situation, in these conditions?
Right?
Like,
so
how dare you?
You didn't have all the money to know if it was going to last a year before you locked them in there.
Yeah.
And like, I ran out of money.
He mentions about like the 20-minute delay. Like, how dare you? Like, so he's like, no, people, they can ask if they want to come out, but there's a 20-minute delay, so they can think about it.
And in there, when Ralph is in the computer system and like hacking in, and Ralph is like, what is he doing? Oh yeah, he's getting rid of that 20-minute lag. And he's like, hey, why don't you work on fixing the security measures that I'm lacking or whatever?
Yeah.
Really, man? You think that's what's important right now?
Not the time. Not the time, sir. Not the time. But Sly and Cabe arrive to the location. They already know that things are going badly. And when they get there, things get worse. There's a waste tank that was damaged by the explosion that is releasing this gas that is no bueno. No bueno.
Another interesting fact I learned.
Yes, yes. And so they got to stop this from leaking because it could be a deadly gas, essentially. Poisonous. And so this is where the piñatas come into play. That was hilarious. That was their way of sealing the tank without inhaling it.
Right.
Genius.
And then the quick line that's like, it was, if you knew there were air filters, or air fresheners, why didn't you use them? It was so quick. See, like, even in this time of like high craziness, they're still dropping these little jokes in. God.
So, and they're also good at delivering it. Yeah. They really understand how to deliver it, which is so great. So they're dealing with the tank, but this smoke, this gas, whatever it is, starts to go into the dome where everybody is. So this is when we go back to the hard soil that has now turned into mud, and we use it as like a paste to cover the vents.
Yeah, I love it.
So good. So good. And there's one big vent at the top that we can't get to. Obviously, there's always a challenge. Right. But Walter,
we just climb up there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna use this mask that doesn't really work. Is what they say. But I'll be okay. It's fine.
I like him when the guy explains it. He's like, "This isn't gonna last for more than 2 minutes." Walter's like, "Thank you."
Yes.
Right.
I'll just get right on
like
up
I didn't
there.
know that. But
yeah. And he starts to kind of cover it, but he's still hallucinating a little bit throughout this entire episode based on what happened at the rocket. And this is, I think, where he starts to remember the kiss or something, and he's like hanging upside down.
No, this is when he remembers that she said, "I love you."
Oh, that she said, "I love you." That's what it is.
Yep, that was the kicker.
Yes.
And he fell right over.
And there's an exchange between them because he's like hanging.
He's just hanging there and they're just chatting.
And then he's like, "Oh, it's deceptive, like you." He was so mad.
Yeah, right?
He was so
butthurt is what it was.
genuinely upset of the whole situation, which I get it. I mean, after how long?
Right.
And starting to see all these visions.
And I totally get it I get where he's coming from. Him saying like, "Oh, I looked like an imbecile this whole time." The whole crew knew about this, the whole team knew this whole time. And I get that. Like, I actually felt for that. I get it. I understand where he's coming from. Because, you kind of feel, but I mean, in that regard, wasn't everyone sort of holding that from him? Is it really Paige's fault that
I'm with you.
She was the one that he has that connection with, or that's her job, So can you really blame her for doing her job? It's not like Happy or Toby or maybe Toby, but it's not like any of them could have done that for Walter.
Yeah.
But obviously he's taking out on Paige because
it's true. I think he should be mad at the whole team,
absolutely.
not just Paige.
If that's his reasoning, really,
right?
But clearly, that's not your reasoning, Walter. You're just.
Then you're going to fire everybody.
It's misplaced anger.
It is
or something.
Totally, 100%.
Or blame.
And this is, throughout this, Jen is literally dying. So this part of the episode I also really liked when they make an injection.
Yes.
I was like, what?
Yes, and they had to inject fluids straight into her arm.
Straight into her arm. So
subcutaneously.
Yeah, because she was literally dying. Happy even says, she looks worse than I feel.
Yeah, I love that.
That line was...
Happy had a lot of good, quick lines.
She had a lot of good ones. And as they're injecting her, all Toby says, I think, is, here goes science. Like, hoping
I love that.
for the best. I loved that. That was so incredible. But... remember, they're still stuck in this place. They can't get out. The door is jammed. They may have stopped this gas, the smoke and all that. They still can't get out. Yeah. So we need to get out. Get them out. Who gets them out? Who gets them out?
It saves the day. The guys in the, the piñata hats.
The piñata.
Obviously.
The most ridiculous
Party
of the
time.
two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, goodness, so good. And then he brings out the champagne, Cabe, and Sly's like, what are we going to do? But it's a perfect idea. They are using champagne on the outside, and then Walter and Toby are making an explosive material that they're going to throw on the inside of the dome, and combining both of them will create an explosion, a fire, essentially, allowing them to make it out. And they do.
It worked.
It worked. It was so good.
The way it blew off looked really good too. I like that they concentrated on putting the plaster right on the hinges, because that made sense to me.
Yeah, it was done well. It was. I liked it. There wasn't really any time. I don't think in this episode where I was like, this is so not believable. I didn't feel that way.
They chose the perfect episode to have like a good, believable, interesting mission that correlates with still like the relationship that's going on there. Oh, so good.
And all the little missions that they had to do, they were so cool to watch them do that.
Yeah, a lot of it was really fascinating.
Yeah, really things that it's like, I feel like I could do this. If I had ammonia and I had soil, I feel like you're right. I could make a rock right now. I could do it. I believe in myself after this. But, they get out and you think everything's going to be fine. But Walter is very upset with Paige. And this is kind of... Cabe tries to talk to him. This is the cool part, because before we head back to the garage where we have that scene where Cabe doesn't say anything and walks away from him, Cabe actually does talk to him and tells him that she saved him, that she probably didn't talk to him about it or bring it up because she doesn't want him to feel embarrassed. Like, he literally tells him what he needs to hear and the truth. The truth. Granted, Sylvester at this point tells him that he made out with his hand, which he didn't need to know that.
Why? Why Sly?
Why Sly? Why Sly?
Was that necessary?
But he really does, like, give him the... You think that at that point Walter would be like, you're right, Gabe. She saved my life.
Right.
That's what I should be thinking about. Not about how she did it. Yeah.
It's kind of like he's like a little boy and he got caught, or like he's just so embarrassed or something that he just retreated back in, and now he's, reacting irrationally, and but that's how he's reacting, like a little kid. Like a little kid. I can't. He's so embarrassed.
I can't.
We get it. We get you're embarrassed. We're all there. It's like, get over it.
Yeah,
it already happened.
But it's Walter. Yeah. And it's like he's not like the rest of us, or not like most of us. He's a little different. He's 197 and 190, and even Toby at this point I think is when he's like, you're literally the only brain I can't crack. 197.
I love that line.
Because of what he does.
Love that.
We head back to the garage, and before Walter breaks all of our hearts and essentially fires Paige, because that's what happened, we head back to the garage, and we are having a bachelor party with pretzels and a 12-year-old.
Kinda.
That's a good bachelor party.
Kinda.
I loved Cabe's description.
I don't even think that's a party.
No, it's not. That's just like a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But when Cabe's like, I woke up with my pants around my head at a bachelor party, and I don't know where. He's like,
my life has changed so much.
That was funny. Really that was good. It really has. But it was not the best, even though Paige has a surprise.
Yeah.
She has a great surprise.
Oh my God, I loved this. I loved this.
Abracadabras.
Abracadabras.
This magician.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so
comes in and he's dressed. His outfit is another story. What is it? I have it right here. Abracadabricus. Guilford Adams is who played that. He walks in looking just like a hot mess Riddler, essentially.
It's like something Phil Dunphy would be into.
Oh, right? Yes! Right? You should have gotten Phil Dunphy. Oh, that would have been so good. Both stories take place in Los Angeles.
All right.
It could have happened. Totally could have happened. Very Phil Dunphy-ish.
Yeah.
Comes in, and it's mathematician magician. I can't. If this is a real thing, I'm getting you one for your birthday.
But the way they took him down with Sly was so
it was
funny.
like, give me, you know, any mathematical problem, and they give some ridiculous ones.
And he's like, wow, that was fast.
And Sylvester's like eating or like doing something, like not even really paying attention, and he's just answering the questions. And this guy just sadly leaves. Like, this is terrible.
He was like, I didn't come here to get... And I love when Paige was like, I'll send you your check.
Gosh,
you know, she's just trying so hard.
Poor Paige.
So funny. I loved that part.
She's not going to get her deposit back.
Oh, no.
But she gained a new car.
Yeah, right?
And she's going to have to pay this guy.
And try to write a really good Yelp review to make up for...
what her team did.
Oh, man.
Or her ex-team. And at the garage, you know, everyone's just hanging out.
We get Ralph's little ditty.
Yes, where he talks to mom and tells her again, you know, maybe Walter was still a genius up there,
and
so
he wise
that he would have sensed if when she said I love you, he would have sensed it was a lie. So maybe it was true. Maybe she really does feel that,
which is why his brain accepted it
as
truth, because he knows that it's true.
Ralph, I love you so much.
Ralph,
Ralph, I love you so much.
I mean, Paige raised you, so where did you get all this wisdom from?
Yes.
What, man? You were killing it. Yeah, you teach your mom something.
Yes.
Right?
And mom goes to talk to the boss. And it starts off so good, like that conversation, you know? When Walter's like, you've helped me so much with people and this and that. And then it just turns for the worst. And he's like, and that's why your services are no longer needed. Walter!
And her reaction, very good.
So good. I mean... We obviously know how great Catherine McPhee is.
Yeah.
She's been fabulous.
Yeah, all these actors are so good.
All of them. But she impresses me a little bit more because she started off as a singer. And a lot of people, when they transition, vice versa, you could be an actress going into singing, a singer going into acting. It's hard to almost be better at the next one. And I love her as an actress.
Yeah.
Like, I love her.
I've missed her since Smash.
I loved her in Smash too.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, I missed that show.
She was in House Bunny. It was, I think, her first. This is a comedy with Anna Faris.
Yeah.
And I remember even thinking then, I was like, oh, she's not bad. Like, it was really small, you know, a tiny role. But she was in that, and I remember thinking, I was like, oh, look at her. She can sing and she can act. Did I know she could do something like this? No. Paige is so complex because of the people she's surrounded with, and like, she shows those emotions. She wears those emotions on her sleeve in such a good way.
Yes.
And when Walter snaps at her this way, it's like she reacted the way I would expect anyone to react.
And I love that Ralph was there because she had to drag Ralph out of there too, and him looking back the
that
whole
shot
time.
Just looking at Walter
So
as
good.
she's pulling him away. You think at that point Walter's like, oh, I didn't mean Ralph.
Right, I know. He can. I'll give him a ride home later. I mean, you don't live that far, right?
One of us will take you home. You just
yeah, that was
awful,
brilliant,
awful.
And I can't wait to see where they are next episode. You know what I mean?
Right.
What happens?
Listen.
Does Ralph reach out to Walter? Is Paige? Paige is unemployed now, or what? Is she gonna go back? Is she gonna go back to the diner? How epic would it be to see her back in a waitress uniform? That would be epic. Like, just because it would be so like heartbreaking and nostalgic, and like take us back to eepisode 1, and you know what I mean, like all that stuff. Like,
no, stop everything you're saying. I don't want that to happen.
But I mean, she's unemployed now.
But she's going to work with Elias.
Oh, okay, right. She has a job.
She has a job. She's got a job.
If she takes it.
So the next episode, next episode is supposed to be May 1st.
Yes, which
episode 23rd.
I saw some people saying earlier.
Something borrowed, something blue.
Is, next episode is the, oh shoot. Am I wrong? Okay, I have to go back. I think I saw people saying there was a honeymoon episode, but that doesn't make sense.
No, this one is something borrowed, something blue, not BLUE color, but BLEW. And the synopsis I'm reading in front of me is after extinguishing a fire in a tunnel, Team Scorpion helps Toby and Happy get to their wedding ceremony. So we might get wedding this next episode.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get the end of the wedding. Maybe we'll be at, or maybe the wedding will start at the end of the episode because of this mission that they're gonna get, and maybe it'll lead into the next episode also.
So then we're doing a whole mission without Paige. Then that would be awesome to see.
And then she just. So are we not gonna see her in this episode at all?
No, we would have to see her. But I mean, I would love to see them missing her in the mission.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Needing
her services.
I want to see Walter needing her.
Oh yeah.
Like just realizing. And I would love to see Ralph
that's what
reach
I want.
out, or
That's
like
what I
Walter
want.
reach out to Ralph or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yup.
I can't with the show. Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I don't know.
Anything else in the
Let's
chat,
see,
guys, that we have not mentioned? We got a couple more minutes here before we got to say bye to you.
See, Ivan Soda said the wedding is when the show comes back. The honeymoon is the next week. Oh, okay. So the wedding,
and
so the wedding's already next week or the next episode. So yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like that it's gonna be over.
I know. I am
the wedding and all that.
Sad
you know,
that this season is ending.
I don't want this to be over.
Yeah,
and it's coming to the.
But we have a season 4. It was announced that they got renewed, so we are coming back.
Yes. But I don't want this. I don't want the wedding to be over.
Right. But because we know that they're coming back, they could keep that wedge thing kind of going. You know what I mean? You know, if it was like, oh, okay, the show's not getting renewed, or we don't know, it could have been like, is this, or you know?
Right. So maybe in this next episode that we're gonna get in 2 weeks, they have this mission, and you're right. Maybe Paige won't be there for the mission, and then we get to the wedding, and then she's there looking fabulous, obviously. Jinx. And then there has to be a Walter Page thing. That has to be the beginning of fixing everything.
Was he supposed to walk with her down the aisle? What kind of exchange happened? You know? Oh, I just can't.
I can't. So Cabe is gonna walk happy down the aisle? Is that what we think?
Yes. Cabe? Unless somehow Happy's dad's able to get out for a day.
Yes.
Which we're still not sure.
We're still not sure, but maybe.
We haven't brought it up yet, but
no. But if not, it'll be Cabe.
And then so is Ray gonna be back this next episode?
He would be invited to the wedding,
right? So that's what we're thinking, that we're gonna have Ray.
Yeah, maybe he'll officiate the wedding.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I want him to.
Maybe he'll officiate, even though it would, but it has to be him, unless we're just gonna get somebody we don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I saw anything in the spoiler photos that
he's friends with his friend is Walter. Don't you think it's like not necessarily Team Scorpion?
No, I think it's Team Scorpion.
You think so?
Yeah,
I feel like he's friends with Walter. And thus everybody else is like, oh yeah, because you're friends with our friend. So you think he's more friends with everybody? So he should be able to marry them.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see.
He lived at the garage, so.
So did Paige's mom. Look how much we loved her. Yeah. Everybody here, everybody in the live chat, thank you so much. We had such an awesome time watching this episode. We are so sad this season is coming to its end.
Yes. By the way, we do have people confirming Ray's officiating. Kate is walking Happy down the aisle. That's confirmed.
All confirmed.
So, yeah, we've got
I would still love to see Happy's dad. I would still love to see him.
They have to at least reference him in the.
If they don't, you have to reference him something. Maybe any. Yes.
There's another thing saying how Happy's wearing her boots under her wedding dress and stuff. So,
of course, how cute.
So those kind of things are just cute. You know, they're not spoilers, you know, because that's something that we would expect anyway. So stuff like that just makes me excited.
Adorable. I can't. Seriously, everybody, thank you so much. We appreciate you always joining us, always tuning in, tweeting us, telling us your thoughts, sending us songs. Yes. We appreciate it so much. Thank you. You can let me know what you thought of this episode. You can let me know what you think of the next episode, because we're going to be off for 2 weeks. But you can let me know on Twitter, or you can find me on Instagram and let me know. Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. You can also tell Susannah everything.
Yeah, you can find me on all social media at Susannah_Kim, SUSANNAH_KIM.
All right, everybody. So remember, 2 weeks off, but we will be back.
Yes. Hopefully with some guests.
Hopefully with some guests. That's still in the works. Don't worry. But hopefully next week we can have, or 2 weeks we'll have some guests, and if not, don't worry. We still have a couple episodes after that. But this next episode looks like it's gonna be big. Yeah. So don't miss it. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.